We are right now approaching the first eclipse corridor of the year as we are coming into the full moon lunar eclipse happening in the sign of Libra on March 25th, 2024. In this video, I'm going to be sharing insights as to what we can expect energetically to be coming in with this eclipse. And of course, I'm going to share insights as to how we can all most consciously work with the energy to support our evolutionary journeys in the realm of healing and empowerment. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Welcome back to my channel, everyone. My name is Carrie Konyha, and I'm a professional psychic reader, shamanic energy healing practitioner, and soul guide in Sedona, Arizona. I love working with astrology to help inform and guide our journeys in soul evolution, and that is what we are talking about today. Before I get into the details as to what the full moon lunar eclipse in Libra on March 25th is going to be bringing us, I want to just say a few little things about the energy of eclipses in general and how they influence us and what they represent. So eclipses happen roughly every 6 months, so twice a year, and they happen when both the sun and the moon align with the nodes of the moon. So you can have a north node eclipse or a south node eclipse, and each one of those brings with it different themes, which I'll explain in a moment. But because eclipses momentarily disrupt the usual energy rays that we are exposed to in our solar system cosmically, it is said that they illuminate our awareness. Eclipses essentially bring to our conscious mind that which has been maybe a little bit more obscure or nebulous in the unconscious mind, and they bring in fresh perspectives and ideas in relation to where we are ready to heal, grow, and evolve. South node eclipses, which is what this upcoming full moon lunar eclipse in Libra is, bring with it themes that are connected to letting go, releasing, surrendering, and endings. While north node eclipses, which is what we're going to be having on April 8th when we have the solar eclipse in Aries, north node eclipses compel us forward in alignment with what we feel is connected to a deeper soul calling or pull in the direction of what brings meaning and purpose in our lives. So they go hand in hand. All eclipses have these types of themes to them. And then the specifics of the eclipses have to do with the zodiac sign that they're falling in and the ruling planets of those zodiac signs. Now, I'm going to talk about the collective energies with this lunar eclipse coming up, and I'm also going to share insights for each sign. So be sure to stay tuned for your sign. Okay, before we do that, I'm going to just talk about what the Libra themes are connected to this full moon eclipse coming up on the 25th. The key words for Libra are balance, honesty, alignment, harmony, beauty, because it's ruled by Venus, but it also brings in themes that are connected to integrity, karma, law, justice. And so in some ways, and it's going to depend on where the Libra Aries axis of your particular chart is, which we'll talk more about in a little bit, but collectively speaking, we're all going to be experiencing some type of opportunity to grow through letting go, to grow through surrendering to the process, to grow through being willing to release things that ultimately are not serving you. And because a Libra is connected to relationships, more than likely, collectively, these themes are going to have something to do with an end of something in a relationship. The kind of relationship that it's in is going to be based on the house that your Libra sector of your chart falls into. For example, it could be the end of a toxic work dynamic. It could be the end of a disagreement between you and a friend, just as an example. There's all kinds of ways that this can show up. What I would encourage you all to do is to get a copy of your natal chart. And if you don't have it, I'm going to put a link in the description box below to astro.com, which is a website where you can draw up your own chart for free. You just need your exact birth date, time, and location, and you can do that for free. And of course, those of you who would like an in-depth reading with me around the eclipse seasons, both of them this year are going to be impacting you, then just reach out and I'm happy to book a session with you as well. Okay, so check this out. One way that we can get a little bit of an insight as to what's going to show up for us individually with this eclipse season that is upon us now is by looking back to the past times where this has occurred, and then using your memory to recall what was going on in your life the last times that this happened. So I'm just going to share some dates here as to the previous times that this eclipse axis happened so that you can take a look back and recognize, okay, what were the themes that were going on in my life then? Okay, so going all the way back to January of 1949 through July of 1950. And then we have August of 1967 through April of 1969. And then we have April of 1986 to December of 1987. And then December of 2004 through June of 2006. And then this axis that we're in right now actually started in July of 2023, and we're going to be in it until January of 2025. So take a look back and recognize if you can discern significant life changes that happened for you around these dates. And that will give you a heads up as to an energetic theme that you can expect to roll around now. But guess what? We're older now, we're wiser, we're more aware, we're more conscious, and we can navigate the energies more consciously than we have in the past. If you're having a nodal return, this is going to be particularly impactful for you. If in your natal chart, you have your North Node in Aries and your South Node in Libra, you're having a nodal return, and you would have been born in one of these date ranges that I just described. Okay, so if I use me as an example, 1986 was the year that I started doing readings. 2004 is when I moved to Sedona. And now here we are in this current access between 2023 and 2025. So I can look at, okay, these were significant times, not only in my career development, because now I'm going to be going into a whole new phase of my career development where I'm still going to be seeing clients, but doing more teaching and writing as well for the next many years. I can foresee that. I'm intending that for myself. But it was also times of relocations for me and times of significant changes regarding relationships. So I'm just saying that as an example to help you to tune into how those themes may have been showing up in your life. And again, now, this time, we get to work with it more consciously. This particular lunar eclipse happening on March 25th is the culmination of a solar eclipse that happened in Libra on October 14th of 2023. So also look back at what was going on in your life mid-October, 2023. Chances are you are choosing to give something in your life one last college try. And now we're at a point where we need to weigh the scales of balance, weigh the scales of justice, and calibrating that a little bit more. It could mean a complete ending of something that you gave that old college try with back in October. It could be the end of a component of something and coming into a new approach, a new strategy, a new energy in moving forward. Because with endings always comes new beginnings. And the solar eclipse that we have coming up on April 8th in the sign of Aries is definitely igniting enthusiasm around new beginnings. I will make a whole separate video about that. Okay, so I want to talk about the Sabian symbol for this degree of Libra, the 5-6 degrees of Libra. The Sabian symbols are symbols that were channeled through a psychic medium that have to do with every degree of the zodiac wheel. And you can look this up online for yourself to get more information about it. But I'm going to go ahead and just read this from my notes. The Sabian symbol for this degree of Libra is ideals of a man abundantly crystallized. So contemplate what that could potentially mean to you, okay? So the description here is the unique ability to develop potentials to highest expression through creative resourcefulness and uninhibited imagination. That's what we are all at the threshold of right now, essentially. Let me read that again. The unique ability to develop potentials to highest expressions through creative resourcefulness and uninhibited imagination. The key words are manifestation, realization, embodiment, emergence. So I really feel that ultimately the endings and beginnings that are happening with this particular eclipse season that we're in right now is karmic endings and dharmic beginnings. Dharma is your purpose. Karma is the result of your actions and decisions. Okay, so this is a clearing of old karma that comes through illuminated awareness, which re-energizes our dharma. Karma and dharma are Sanskrit terms that come from yoga. Dharma is our feeling of calling, purpose, duty. And I really feel that the nature of the energies that are being activated with this particular eclipse are on those deep evolutionary levels, especially because of this. I haven't even talked about what else is going on planetary wise with this eclipse. So there's not a lot of planetary interaction, but the interaction that's there is pretty significant because it involves Pluto. Pluto essentially is the planet of transformation, evolution. It supports evolution through transformation. It dredges up from the depths of our unconscious whatever needs to be cleared and released so that we can evolve. So that is connected to the nature of this eclipse corridor that we're in right now anyway, but having Pluto in the mix is strengthening that aspect even more. Pluto is making a trine aspect to this full moon eclipse. Trines are positive, harmonious alignments. And then Pluto is also making a sextile aspect to both the Sun and Neptune. Sextile aspects are also harmonious, opportunistic energies. So we have Pluto making positive aspects to the Sun and the Moon, which is supporting our evolution. And that is very connected to what I just said about the Sabian symbol with us all having the ability to develop potentials to highest expression. Ask yourself, what type of goals do you have that are particularly requiring you to harness the power of your creativity? We've been talking a little bit about this because the past new moon was bringing us into this awareness as well. And we're also coming into the spring equinox right before this eclipse, which is spring and summer are the prime manifestation seasons of the year. And by the time we have the next eclipse season, it's going to be in the fall, right? So literally, no joke, you guys, whatever it is that you want to create, experience, manifest, embody, become, now is the time to really set those intentions. However, I do want to also interject here and say that, you know how we usually do like new moon intentions, and many of us do personal ceremonies and rituals around the new moon, the full moon. Eclipses are not the time to do any type of magical workings at all. So if you're going to set your intention, hopefully you already set it during this past new moon that we just had a week or so ago from the time of me filming this. If not, then set it now. Okay, you do not want to do any type of magical workings, spell work, intention setting, ceremony during eclipses because the energy is chaotic and a little bit disruptive, and it could possibly backfire on you. So we want to be clear as to what our intentions are, but we're not necessarily doing intention related personal ritual or ceremony during these times. I want to go back to the astrology here with Pluto being advantageously connected to the sun and the moon, and also Neptune, because Neptune is connected to creativity. It's also connected to the mystical dimensions of life, so our spirituality. To me, this further emphasizes the aspect that I'm tuning into intuitively here as to the karmic dharmic thing. The energy is supporting us and dropping even more into our soul evolution. And here's the thing, these cycles that we're talking about with the eclipses and the axis that the eclipses happen at, the cycle goes from 18 months to 18 years. The nodes stay in a particular axis of signs that are opposite of each other for about 18 months. And because of that, it takes 18 and a half years to go all the way around the zodiac. So if you notice, those dates that I mentioned earlier are about 18 years apart. So we right now are at the threshold of consciously this time moving into an energy that's going to be unfolding for nearly the next 2 decades. So ask yourself, where are you at in your life right now? And where do you see yourself 20 years from now? For me, this is probably my last 20 years of working before I retire-ish. One more thing I want to say about the astrology that's going to be coming up for the solar eclipse that we have in April. That's going to be conjunct Chiron in Aries. So the fresh, new, motivating, drive, compelling forward energy that's coming with that solar eclipse is also going to be coming with a renewed feeling or inner experience of wholeness, feeling healed and empowered, because Chiron and Aries direct, which happened back in January, I believe, after being retrograde for a period of time, brings us into that feeling of, okay, I've achieved some healing. Remember that the idea of doing our healing work is so that we can achieve healing. We're not meant to stay on an endless cycle of doing healing work, processing, integrating. We do that so that we can show up in our most authentically full, whole, healed, empowered self. And that's the energy that we're coming into in just a few weeks. So this next few weeks between March 25th and April 8th is going to come with intensities, but I encourage us to welcome the intensities that happen, work with them consciously, knowing that it's supporting our uprising energetically, elevating us into new heights of vibrational frequency. With that, I'm going to go ahead and share insights for each individual sign. When I do each sign, I do it based on what your rising sign is, because that's going to be more accurate based on where the placement of the eclipse is in your chart. If you don't know your rising sign, you can go to astro.com. I'll put the link below and draw up your chart for free. And it's the sign that is in the first house closest to that horizon on your left-hand side of the chart is going to be the rising sign. If you need help with that, reach out and I'm happy to have a session with you. You can listen also for your sun sign and your moon sign. Your moon sign is going to reveal deeper insights as to your inner world, matters having to do with your private life, your inner emotional self, your intuition, matters having to do with healing, nurturing energy, where the energy of your sun sign is going to have more to do with how you're expressing yourself out into the world, your identity, your body, your appearance, your drive, things like that. Okay, so with that, I want to share a little bit about the tarot deck that I'm working with today, because I'm doing this a little bit differently than usual because it's a special time as we're coming into the eclipse. And let's see. Okay, here's the tarot deck that I'm working with is called the In-Between Tarot. This is what the box looks like. And the In-Between Tarot is created in a way where it speaks of a blending of two energies, like the cards in the deck are sequential, right? So it's like this card and the next card, and what is the blending of those energies. For today, I'm only working with the major arcana, because the major arcana has to do with our soul evolution. So I'm going to be talking about where the eclipse is falling in your chart based on your rising sign, and then an extra little message from the tarot. So I'm going to give these a few shuffles, even though I shuffled them before I started this video. And let's see here. We're going to start with Aries Rising. If you are Aries Rising, this eclipse, full moon, lunar eclipse in Libra, is happening in your 7th house of partnerships, long-term relationships. This can be romantic relationships. It can be relationships with coworkers, friends, family, long-term relationships in general. And so let's see what wants to come up for you. Extra little message. So if you're Aries rising, you can expect a theme of some type of transformative ending leading to a new beginning in relationship themes in your life. And the card that you got is the High Priestess and the Empress. This is the joining, the blending of the two energies, High Priestess and the Empress. And the joining or the blending of these two energies reads as this. The High Priestess is the energy of intuitiveness, paying attention to your intuition. Your intuition is speaking to you specifically about what you're birthing into being, what you're nurturing into being. This can include matters having to do with self-care, especially because this eclipse is happening on the Libra Aries axis. For everybody collectively, that's going to be themes of self versus other, self versus relationship, navigating that. So for Aries, this could very much be connected to what you need for your self-care and your self-nurturing, and that self-care and self-nurturing may be a key component that needs to be brought into balance in order for you to birth into being or create or manifest something that is important to you. And it could be around relationship themes as well. Okay, so next we're coming into Taurus. If you're a Taurus, then this eclipse is happening in your 6th house of health and service. This is how you are of service. It's your structures and routines around your health and wellness holistically. It can also be your work routines. So your themes with this eclipse of endings and ultimately restarts, new beginnings, are going to be connected to that. And then the card that comes up for you is the Hierophant and Lovers card blended. The Hierophant card on one level is being your own guru. It's following your own inner truth rather than just following the masses. And the Lovers card typically shows up when there's a fork in the road and a choice to be made, and we need to make decisions about a path that we're on. So for Taurus, you may be facing a juncture where you need to make decisions around a particular path forward regarding your work, the way that you do your work, and or the way you do your health routines. It's you deciding what you want to be very spiritually committed to right now. Next, we're looking at Gemini. And if you're Gemini rising, then the eclipse is happening in your 5th house of pleasure, which is connected to love affairs, romance, creativity, and children. So you're going to be having those types of themes connected to those topics if you are Gemini rising. And then the card that comes up is the Moon and the Sun. The Moon card in the tarot represents our deep unconscious primal needs and instincts. It also can represent our shadow side, and the Sun represents illuminated awareness. So if you're Gemini rising, more conscious awareness around things that have been unconsciously operating and compelling you regarding pleasures in life. This could be realizing where you've gotten caught up in satiating physical pleasures and having awareness around that. On the unconscious lowest vibration level, that could be various forms of addictions. On the high level, it's evolving beyond those types of needs. Like the pleasures can be like, okay, this can be the icing on the cake in my life, but it's not the thing that's my core driving force behind everything I do in life. Just as an example of how this is coming up. If you're Cancer rising, this is showing up, the eclipse, in your 4th house of private life, home, family, early childhood, your roots, your ancestry, and your innermost private self. You have opportunity to do deep ancestral healing or inner child work, healing old wounds from your deep past, which ultimately will support you in coming into a renewed harmony. And then the card that's coming up is the Hermit and the Wheel. The Hermit card is the energy of really tapping into your silent knowledge, your deep soul knowing. And the Wheel, a fortune card in the tarot, is the energy of evolutionary change. So really tapping into your deep soul knowing is the key to positive growth forward for you. And chances are that's going to have to do with what I just said about the ancestral healing because it's in your 4th house. Okay, if you're Leo rising, this eclipse is happening in your 3rd house of communication. It's communication and community. It's sharing ideas, socializing. It can also be studying, learning, things of that nature. So when I'm looking at the endings theme with the eclipse, you could be having changes regarding your social circles and communities that are connected to the growth patterns that you're in right now. That happens sometimes. Sometimes we grow and we outgrow specific social situations that we had been previously involved with, and we're on the path of discovering new friends, new activities, and things like that. And then the card that's coming up for you is the Hanged Man and the Death card. The Hanged Man in the tarot represents new perspectives coming into view. Illumination through new perspectives brings solution. And the Death card actually is really more about rebirth and renewal than anything else. So how's that showing up for you? Post in the comments below how this is showing up for you guys. Share with all of us here what's going on. Any additional insights that you have that you want to share. I love that. Okay, let's move into Virgo. If you are a Virgo rising, this is in your 2nd house of possessions, what you value, your own self-esteem, and how you make money. And it's the Strength card blended with the Hermit card. Strength card is about courageousness and leadership that comes from really tuning into your true heart calling. And the Hermit card further emphasizes that aspect, as we just talked about in the previous card, of really tapping into your silent knowledge. So for you, Virgo, tapping into your silent knowledge, your inner strength and courageousness is more than likely connected to themes of self-value, self-worth, self-esteem, or perhaps literally how you make money and what your financial growth goals are. Okay, so Libra, if you're Libra rising, this is in your 1st house of self-identity, self-expression. This is your temperament, your body, your physical appearance. And the card that's coming up is the Devil combined with the Tower. The Devil card in the tarot can represent where we feel enslaved, where we feel restricted, where we feel obligated. And the Tower card is like Uranus energy that brings in sudden new developments, unexpected changes that are meant to help liberate you from the things that you feel enslaved to, obligated by. So being in the first house, this could be that you carry yourself in a way in life that is more based on your socialization, your conditioning, your programming, your domestication, rather than how you truly are on the inside. And the Tower element is here to help liberate you from the shoulds in life so that you can be full embodiment of who you are. Let the inside of you show and express externally. Okay, if you're a Scorpio, this is showing up in your 12th house of unconscious. On unconscious, low vibration levels, this goes into the realm of self-sabotage, self-undoing. But in the higher octaves, it's very intuitive. It's psychic. It's dreaming our dreams into manifestation. It's transcendence. And so let's see what card comes up for you. The Magician blended with the High Priestess. How apropos. In the tarot, the Magician reminds us that we are the conduit between channeling earth and sky energies. It's the very beginning phases of manifestation energy where we're just dreaming the dream into being, gathering the resources we need to ultimately express, create, or manifest that. And then the High Priestess element brings in the intuitive guidance element, which for Scorpio is a second nature of yours. Scorpios are typically naturally really intuitive. So listen to your intuition, maybe around timing, how, what, just let your intuition guide you. Build that in, build your intuition, GPS navigation ability into what your ideas and plans are, because it's showing up in your 12th house. Chances are that you will start having more awarenesses around what's been unconsciously compelling you so that you can begin to consciously create and manifest whatever your deeper inner unconscious dreams have been. For Sagittarius, this eclipse is, if you're Sagittarius rising, this eclipse is happening in your 11th house of friends, hopes, collaborative efforts, humanitarianism. And the card that you got is the Judgment blended with the World card. The Judgment card is basically liberating yourself from self-judgment. It's resurrection energy. It could be you calibrating and getting back on track with people that are connected with shared interests. So there can be collaborative efforts, feeling more connected to community, building community. Maybe you have been isolating yourself because of self-judgment. And then the World card with that is like an exalting energy. The World card represents the celebration of the achievement of a goal or a dream that has been important to you. So friendships, collaborative efforts, goals, dreams, innovative ways of doing things for Sagittarius. Capricorn, this is going to be in your 10th house of social status, long-term goals, career, which you should feel pretty at home with. Maybe you're considering a new career path. Maybe your long-term goals are coming into view or have been morphing and shifting and coming more into view now. And the card that came up for you is the Fool card blended with the Magician card. And this is the energy of taking flight. So this brings tremendous growth It's like you are ready to take that leap of faith and create a new expression or a new facet of what your long-term goals are. Now, this could be unfolding over the next many months, but the information that you need, the awareness you need, is coming into view right now. And then Aquarius, for Aquarius, this is happening in your 9th house of philosophy. It has to do with literal and intellectual explorations. You might feel guided to literally travel or metaphorically explore through higher learning, education, learning through the philosophies of ancient cultures, foreign lands. And the card that came up for you is the World card blended with the Fool card. This is really cool because the World card is the last card in the major arcana, which guides you through a whole journey of becoming. So by the time you get to the World card, you've been through all kinds of experiences and you're successfully achieving something based on the growth that you had through the diversity of experience. And now you're coming full circle with a new ambition, a new goal that you can come to with having wisdom of experience under your wings now. So let me know in the comments how that's showing up for you. And then lastly, Pisces. If you're Pisces rising, this eclipse is happening in your 8th house of transformation. Deep alchemical transformation. This house is also connected to sexuality, death, metaphoric processes of birth, life, death, and regeneration. So this is a very transformative time for you, Pisces rising people. And the card is the Temperance blended with the Devil. When I look at the blending of these two cards, Temperance is the energy of consciously holding space. On superficial 3D levels, people say the Temperance card is about being patient. And I've said this before, it's not just idly being patient, wondering what life is going to dish out. No, it's you being deliberate about what you know that you want to experience in life, and you're deliberately holding space for that. So when the Devil card comes in, this is temptation away from that. And so for Pisces, this is a message about really honing your self-dedication towards your goals, whatever they are, inward or external, and not being distracted, which can be challenging for Pisces. Because Pisces is very mutable energy. It goes with the flow of whatever the dominant energy is around. It's easy to get distracted and, oh, something shiny over here. Oh, something shiny over here. And whoops, I forgot what I was doing. So your growth opportunity comes through cultivating self-dedication, self-discipline. And I mean that as in structure around what your transformation goals are right now, because again, this is in the 8th house for Pisces rising people. So themes of your own personal transformation, evolution. For example, this could be maybe you're doing like some personal development course online. So this would be like, oh, I paid for the course, but then I didn't take the course, right? That type of thing. Which reminds me, going to put the link below in the description box for my online Mastering Intuition course. It's a super good course. It gives you everything that you need to really get grounded in the fundamentals of understanding how to consciously navigate your own intuition. And for those of you who are possibly preparing for any type of career in any field of energy, healing, arts, or intuitive coaching, or anything like that, this is going to give you the foundations that you need for deeper work with your intuition down the road. And I am offering courses along those lines later this fall. So taking that course now is going to make you feel ready for my more advanced courses that I'll be offering in the fall as well. I love hearing about your stories of what your own personal insights are through this. And then I'm going to be coming on in another week here to be talking about the solar eclipse happening in the sign of Aries on April 8th. In the meantime, we do have the spring equinox coming up on the 19th, 20th here. So happy spring to all of you. This is a flourishing time of growth, unfurling, flowering, blossoming, not only agriculturally, but energetically within ourselves. This would be a really good week as we're coming into this first few days of spring to make sure you're doing your spring cleaning, clearing clutter, organizing, creating optimum space for growth while we were coming into the manifestation seasons here of spring and summer. Okay, guys, all my love, blessings, namaste, and I will see you all in the next one.